Why you feel empty even when your life looks perfect. There's a particular kind of suffering that has no name, no diagnosis, no visible wound. It's the kind that lives behind polished Instagram grids and corner offices, behind the perfect relationship everyone admires, behind the body you worked 2 years to sculpt, behind the life that, on paper, should make you happy. And yet, you wake up and feel nothing. Not sadness, not anxiety, just a quiet, persistent emptiness, like you're watching your own life from behind glass. Here's what makes it terrifying. You can't explain it. Because how do you tell someone you're drowning when you're standing on dry land? How do you say you feel lost when you've arrived exactly where you said you wanted to be? This isn't about what you don't have. This is about what happens when you get everything you thought you needed and realize it changed nothing. Her name was Elena. She was 31, senior marketing director, lived in a loft downtown with floor-to-ceiling windows, dated a man who brought her coffee in bed, and remembered the names of her friends. She had a yoga membership she actually used, a skincare routine, a savings account. People at work respected her. Her parents were proud. Her life looked like the kind of life people screenshot and add to vision boards. But every Sunday night, Elena sat on her balcony with a glass of wine she didn't really want, staring at the skyline, feeling like she was waiting for something. She didn't know what. She just knew that nothing felt the way she thought it would. The promotions didn't fill it. The compliments didn't touch it. The relationship didn't fix it. And the worst part? She felt guilty for even feeling this way. Because what right did she have to be unhappy? It started subtly. At first, it was just a low hum of dissatisfaction she could ignore. She told herself she was tired, burnt out, that she needed a vacation. So she went to Lisbon for a week. She posted the photos, got the likes, felt nothing. Then she thought maybe it was her relationship. Maybe she'd settled. Maybe she wasn't in love enough. So she pushed herself to feel more, planned date nights, bought lingerie, tried to perform the emotions she thought she should have. But she couldn't fake what wasn't there. One night, after another perfect dinner at another beautiful restaurant, her boyfriend smiled at her across the table and said, "You seem far away lately." She wanted to tell him the truth. That she didn't know where she was. That even sitting right in front of him, she felt like she was disappearing. But instead, she just smiled back and said, "I'm fine. Just work stuff." And that's when it became clear. The problem wasn't her job. It wasn't her relationship. It wasn't her apartment or her body or her schedule. The problem was deeper. The problem was her. What Elena didn't realize was that she had been living her entire life according to a script. Not one she wrote. One she inherited. Get good grades. Get the degree. Get the career. Get the relationship. Get the life that looks successful. Check, check, check. She had done everything right. And that was exactly the problem. Because somewhere along the way, she stopped asking herself what she actually wanted. She outsourced her desires to the world around her, to her parents' approval, to her friends' envy, to the silent scoreboard of social comparison. She became so good at achieving external validation that she forgot to build an internal self. Psychologists call this identity foreclosure. It's when you adopt a version of yourself based on what others expect, without ever questioning whether it's true. You become a collection of accomplishments, roles, appearances. But underneath, there's no foundation, no core, just a hollow space where a self should be. And when you finally get everything you were told would make you whole, you realize the emptiness was never about what you didn't have. It was about who you never became. Here's where it gets darker. Because once you realize your life is built on someone else's blueprint, you have two choices. You can face it, or you can run faster. Elena chose the latter. She threw herself into a new project at work, signed up for a half marathon, started researching graduate programs, redecorated her apartment. She convinced herself that the emptiness was just boredom, that she needed a new challenge, a new goal. Because goals had always worked before. They gave her direction, distraction, a reason to wake up. But this time, it didn't help. The emptiness followed her. It sat beside her during morning runs. It watched her during meetings. It whispered to her in the shower, "You're performing your own life." And the more she tried to fill the void with achievement, the wider it grew. Because achievement is like salt water. The more you drink, the thirstier you become. She wasn't living. She was proving. Proving she was enough. Proving she mattered. Proving she was worthy. But worthy of what? She didn't even know anymore. Then came the breaking point. It was a Thursday. Nothing special. No tragedy. No bad news. Just another morning where Elena woke up, looked at the ceiling, and felt the weight of her own absence. She went to the bathroom, stared at herself in the mirror, and for the first time, she asked the question she'd been avoiding for years. Who am I when no one's watching? The silence was deafening. Because she didn't know. She knew who people thought she was. The competent one, the successful one, the one who had it all together. But when she peeled back the roles, the resume, the relationship status, there was nothing. Just a girl who learned to perform so well that she forgot she was acting. And that's when the twist hit her. The emptiness wasn't a problem to solve. It was a message. It was her mind telling her that she had abandoned herself, that she had spent so long becoming what others wanted that she had lost contact with what she needed. The emptiness wasn't the enemy. It was the alarm. Elena didn't quit her job, or break up with her boyfriend, or move to Bali. She didn't need a dramatic external change. She needed an internal one. She started small. She began asking herself questions she'd never asked before. What do I actually enjoy? Not what looks good, not what I'm supposed to like. What makes me feel alive? At first, the answers didn't come. Because she had silenced that voice so long ago, it had learned to stay quiet. But slowly, carefully, she started listening. She realized she hated yoga but loved boxing. She realized she didn't want to climb the corporate ladder, she wanted to teach. She realized her relationship was good, but it wasn't hers. It was safe, comfortable, expected. And for the first time in years, she made a choice that had nothing to do with how it would look. She ended it. Not out of anger, not out of blame, out of honesty. Because she couldn't build a real life on a false self. Here's what most people don't understand. Emptiness isn't always a sign that something's missing. Sometimes it's a sign that something false has been added. A life built on shoulds instead of wants. On image instead of identity. On achievement instead of alignment. You can have everything society tells you to chase and still feel hollow. Because society doesn't know who you are. Only you do. And if you've spent your whole life listening to everyone else, you'll end up living a life that fits perfectly on paper, but feels like a prison in your body. The emptiness doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're waking up. It means some part of you deeper than logic, louder than fear, is refusing to let you keep pretending. And maybe that's the most painful gift life can give you. The chance to stop performing. The chance to stop proving. The chance to finally ask, what do I actually want my life to feel like? Not look like. Feel like. If this made you question something you've been avoiding, hit subscribe. Because the hardest person to be honest with isn't your boss, your partner, or your parents. It's yourself. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do isn't chase more. It's stop long enough to ask if you're chasing the right thing at all.